What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the St.Thomas Tommies Dynasty here on NCAA for 14. This is John J. Gaming on the mic, and welcome to the off-season special where we'll take a look at the stats for our guys this season, as well as some notable bowl games, and then, of course, the duration of this off-season. First, we'll go ahead and take a look at the season stats for our guys this season. We had a few different guys throw the ball for us because of injuries. Jesse Wallen, of course, was our unquestioned starting quarterback, and he didn't have that great of a season. 1,600 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Desi Lindsey was actually surprisingly, he did an admirable job when he was in there. He had 7 touchdowns and then had 12 interceptions, had 1,173 yards passing. And then Bo Hall eventually got some run as first-string quarterback whenever Desi Lindsey got hurt. He was free for 14 on the season. He passed for 60 yards, and he didn't throw any touchdowns or any interceptions. Moving on to our running game, we tried to focus a little bit more on the run, and we certainly did that as much as we could. And we ended up with highs in like rushing yards. John Christensen, for example, in his second year on the squad, he had twice as many rushing yards as he did in the last season, as well as had 11 touchdowns on the ground. Jesse Wallen wasn't too far behind him either. He had over 600 yards rushing, and he also had an increase in rushing yard production. Then Desi Lindsey had 390 yards. We knew he was a scrambler. He's good with the legs and almost had double-digit touchdowns too. And then Denny Dilkins, our custom recruit, all the way back from season 1, hailing from Philadelphia. He had only 17 carries for 59 yards, and he did have a touchdown though, and he was solid whenever he got the rock as the backup running back. Moving on to our receivers, leading us in catches was Kevin Stone. He's our star junior receiver, 72 overall. This man was close to 40 overall when this guy first came onto the series way back in season 1. This man has worked his ass off to get better every single day, and he is up to a 72 overall. So I definitely anticipate him being in the mid to high 70s for his senior season. He also had almost 700 yards receiving and two touchdowns to go with it. But leading us in touchdown catches, there was actually a tie between Mark McDaniel and Andrew Green. Andrew Green and Mark McDaniel were pretty good red zone targets for us over the course of this season. Marv Santana also got to run on offense. He came in during the second half of the season, one of our best players on defense. He came over on offense, and he was pretty solid too. He only had 5 catches for 51 yards, but almost half of his catches were touchdowns, so ways to put points on the boards for us too. And then Andrew Henderson and Chad McKenzie also caught a touchdown pass this season as well. And then moving on to the defense, we had 2 guys over 60 tackles this year in Derek Jackson and Marv Santana. Derek Jackson actually had the same number of tackles as he did last season during his freshman campaign. And then Marv Santana actually saw his production go up. He actually surprisingly never caught an interception, but the man can definitely hit somebody. I'll tell you what, as he had a couple pass deflections. He did force a fumble in his junior campaign. He didn't do it this year, but dude was definitely a really good contributor for us, someone we could always rely on in the secondary. Dude was a really solid dude for being a 1-star recruit. And then sacks, William Swan and Josh Parker both look like guys that we can build as pillars for the next season, as they combined for 16 sacks. Malachi Jackson, he also looked really good. He had 3 sacks as well, and so did Derek Jackson too. Aaron Moore, Corey Ford, and Corey Fitzpatrick also got sacks for us as well. And then I think we did a better job of forcing turnovers this season. Derek Jackson and Corey Fitzpatrick both had multiple interceptions this year, with Malachi Jackson and Aaron Rodgers both getting their hands on the ball this season too. Corey Fitzpatrick, actually, he was able to run an interception back in the final game, and it almost led us to getting an upset on Cal, but alas, that wasn't meant to happen. And then we had 4 forced fumbles in Derek Jackson and Malachi Jackson. These 2 brothers definitely combining to putting some hurting on these ball carriers. And then Jeff Jones, Malachi Jackson, and Josh Parker all picked up fumble recoveries. So we got most of our forced fumbles Just wish that we forced a little bit more. Moving on to the team stats for our squad, and our offense was actually pretty solid this year. We were about middle of the pack in terms of offensive yards gained. Taking a look at our total offensive yard, actually we'll go to passing yards. We were just about the middle of the pack, so I mean there's really no complaints over here. St. Thomas, was in the upper echelon for passing offense for this season, but that was split out between 3 different quarterbacks. Rushing game though, we didn't run the ball very often, so this year we found ourselves towards the bottom, although I thought we did a better job running the ball than we did in previous seasons. And then our points per game is just about average, 26.7 points per game. It's still a step up from last season, but it's not exactly something that our offense can necessarily carry our defense. But interesting though, we did have plenty of rushing touchdowns. It was pretty close to the top of the FBS. The leader had 34 rushing touchdowns and we had 27, so that was pretty cool. Unfortunately, that also meant that we were towards the bottom, as we were one of the worst when it comes to passing the ball into the end zone. Defense though, unsurprisingly, struggled again. We're getting a little closer to getting better. I thought the 4-2-5 scheme worked a lot better for us, given that our strength seems to be our secondary, so having 5 guys out there from our secondary on the field seemed to help us out. But we still had the worst defense in the NCAA, so that doesn't change that. One of the worst passing defenses. Despite that, that's just a product of having one-star school, one-star guys. They guys that typically wouldn't play extensively. That's just like the product of that. And then because we had so many guys out there, we had the third rushing defense, and we almost had the first worst if it wasn't for the fact that Kyle was so pass heavy. That would have been really not good. And then of course we had we allowed the most points in the NCAA, but we're closing the gap on the rest of the FBS, so at least there's that to look forward to. And we're about middle of the pack in sacks, and then of course we still need to work on fumble recoveries, but at the very least we're not at the very bottom. So like I said, we're definitely getting better. And one way that I know that we're getting better is just taking a look at our schedule. We were competitive in a lot of games despite only finishing 3-9. We started off really good this season, beating Old Dominion, although we almost blew that game, blowing out Tulane 48-17. I can't believe we blew them out as much as we did. I didn't change any of the sliders or anything like that at the beginning of the season, I swear. We won 48-17 there. That was our best win of the season. And then, we got a little cocky, and we ended up losing big to Buffalo, and then also losing big to Louisville. And then for the next 4 slated games, we were in the Texas State game, but we couldn't quite pull that out. Kentucky was a blowout, which is not to be expected. North Texas, this game was a lot closer than what the scoreboard says. We were in that game in the 4th quarter. We had heartbreak, which you hate to see. And then we did end up beating Mid-Tennessee State on the road. That is our singular road win of the season. So I think that was the first time we actually won a game on the road. So that was really cool to see. Rutgers we were in too, but we just kind of ran out of gas in the second half. South Carolina, Iowa were just about what you expected it to be. And then Cal, we nearly beat Cal. We were up by a field goal with about a minute left, and then we had that heartbreak at the very end. It's definitely tough to see, but we were in a good portion of these games. We just got to learn to close games out. And, we could be a lot closer to like 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 wins, just talking about those games I mentioned below. We were definitely, we definitely had a chance to go bowling, but even then, we had the most wins in this dynasty so far. Back in season 1, we didn't win a single game. And then season 2, we had a different coach, and he went 2-10. But then he got fired, and then our current coach, he went 3-9, and it looks like he's going to be kept for season 4 as we go into the off season. but you know, we gotta get to a bowl game, or at least get close to a bowl game, continue to show improvement, and then yeah, you know, I mean, things are still looking up. It's a grind. It's definitely a grind, but you know, that's how I want it to be. You know, this is how it is. You know, building a Division III program, a former D3 school, and we're building them up to an FBS squad. And you know, slowly but surely, we're definitely doing that. So we just received the Heisman Trophy results for this season, and it looks like Phil Jerkovich, I think that's how you pronounce his name, he ended up winning the Heisman. It was a pretty close Heisman race. It went down to between him, Zach White, and Jalen Woods from Stanford. Both of them were within roughly 300 points of winning the Heisman, but it looks like Phil Jerkovich is going to win the Heisman, a quarterback from Notre Dame, which I think that might be the first time that they won a Heisman Trophy. Let me know down in the comments, because I'm honestly am not too terribly sure about that. And then, you know, we didn't have any records, but I mean, if we did, you know, Jesse Wallen definitely would have gotten some records for us. And you know, we also got to level 7, which is really cool to see. We're just going to go ahead and continue to put that in recruiting, you know, just to help us getting more guys on the squad easier. You know, go start, you know, just putting 500 points in, you know, first 7 weeks of the season. That'll help us at the beginning of the year, just having more points at our disposal. So yeah, we got our level 7 coach, which is real cool to see. And then we're also going to take a look at the bowl results, just kind of scrolling through, seeing anything that was really notable for us. Looks like Fresno State and Utah had a surprising top 25 matchup in the Mako Bowl that takes place in Las Vegas, and Utah came out on top 42-24. Kentucky, we did play Kentucky this season, and they did go to the Advocare Independence Bowl and beat Virginia 34-31. They killed us like in the middle of the season. Old Dominion was a team that we beat in week 1. They went to the Armed Forces Bowl and beat Hawaii 35-24. So that's a good win for us. Seeing somebody actually win a bowl game. SMU looks like beat UCLA 28-21. And SMU will finish in number 20 in the final top 25 poll. Texas actually beat Stanford despite having a Heisman finalist by 2 touchdowns. They'll finish only 9-4, which I know is a disappointing season for, you know, Texas Longhorns fans. Oregon beat Georgia Tech in the Hyundai Sun Bowl 34-28. Chick-fil-A Bowl though, Auburn beat Miami of the Hurricanes 42-30. And Ohio State, we had a little Ohio matchup in the Heart of Dallas Bowl. Definitely a disappointing season for both squads, but Ohio State at least can go home and win a bowl game because they beat Cincinnati 48-24. Let's see, Mississippi State beat Illinois in Taxslayer Gator Bowl. Indiana was in a shootout with Ole Miss, and Indiana won that 55-45. Way to beat an SEC squad. Really trying to take down that SEC bias. Same thing with Arkansas. They lose to an unranked Wisconsin squad. Oklahoma beat South Carolina in the Rose Bowl. Florida won the Tostitos Bowl against the Washington Huskies. Notre Dame won the Sugar Bowl with their Heisman winning quarterback. Eastern Michigan went to the Orange Bowl, but they got smacked in the Orange Bowl. That Michigan 38-17. That's a great season for Eastern Michigan though. TCU won the Cotton Bowl against Georgia. Minnesota won that. Let's see. And then the BCS National Championship game, North Carolina beat USC. I never thought I would see North Carolina, but I guess that's Mac Brown really working his magic over there. Wouldn't that be something if North Carolina won a football championship? So yeah, but it looks like the Tar Heels are going to be your BCS National Champion for this season. Moving on to the coaching changes here in this offseason, and it looks like St. Thomas did not have any coaching changes, so we'll have our entire staff back, which is, you know, that would be nice for our squad. And then Mac Brown, who won the national championship game, decides to retire. So Ron Roberts is actually going to take over as the new head coach for North Carolina. I'm just kind of curious to see where this man came from. and he looks like they're staying in house, because Ron Roberts was the defensive coordinator for the Tar Heels International Championship run, and he's going to be elevated to the head coaching position. So that's kind of cool to see that the Tar Heels are going to stay in house. Checking out the players leaving, and this is always the toughest part of the off season. We don't have a lot of seniors, but it's a lot of seniors that were starting. Julian McAfee, he was a kicker for us. He came through in the clutch for us. Marv Santana, I know he was one of my personal favorites on this series. He played both offense and defense in the second half of his senior season. We're definitely going to miss you, good sir. John Christensen, starting tailback. Spicer also was a starter. Same with Damian Thompson and Carl Rogers. So that's 3 of our offensive linemen right there that will be graduating. Jesse Wallen, our starting quarterback, is graduating. He didn't have that great of a career, but this dude was so tough. He played through multiple injuries through the course of his senior season, and he's a tough dude. The 6'8" overall doesn't speak volumes to the appreciation that I have for this guy. So I wish you the best of luck in your whatever happens after your college football playing days. And then Andrew Henderson, he was our starting fullback. He caught a touchdown for us. Then Matt Gent, he stepped up as a starting safety for us in his final season. Gonna miss all these guys, and I wish them the best of luck. So unsurprisingly, we did not have anybody get drafted this season, although I thought Julian McAfee might have a shot. And we also did not get any transfer requests either. So that's gonna kind of suck for us, but that's okay. We're just gonna go ahead and move on to recruiting. So here's our recruiting class. Right now, we have a decent number of guys coming in that could probably make an impact right away. The only person that we're gonna go after is BJ Pittman, since I think Evan Keplin's already coming in as a strong safety, so we're probably gonna move BJ Pittman over to the free safety position, because he could actually probably help us out more right away. He doesn't have the best speed, but he does have decent tackling abilities, and as long as we work on his cover skills, he can be a solid safety for us. And the best part is he is a true freshman, so we have plenty of time to work with him. He has one other scholarship offer from Bowling Green, so I'm going to go ahead and just put everything in him, and I'll show you the results of that after we get to signing day. Pittman does commit to the squad, so that's really that's nice to see. That he could definitely help us out right away. And let's take a look at our recruiting class. We'll have 22 one-star guys, and that's going to put us last once again. We just got to continue to work so that we can get our prestige up, and then once we get our prestige up, we'll be able to go after better guys. Like for example, if we're a 2-star school, we'll be able to go after 2-star guys. But this is going to be our final recruiting class. It's going to be headlined by Dave Bass, Marshall Hawkins. And then we also have like a few other JUCOs that are going to come in and make a difference right away. It's not as good as the recruiting classes we brought in last season. I think I'll admit that, but there's definitely some guys that can help us right away and could be sneaky picks to be really helpful down the line. If you're also thinking about getting a custom recruit, just let me know down in the comments who you want to replace with their name, and I'll go ahead and do that. I'll leave a template in the description as well as pin a comment to help you guys out with that. So yeah, just let me know down in the description who you want to replace in this recruiting class, and I will definitely make it happen if he makes the squad. Okay, so this is the initial roster that is going to be returning back. Right now we only have 2 guys over 70 overall, in Kevin Stone and Josh Sanders. I'm sure they're going to be probably mid 70s when this is all said and done. Dave Bass is pretty close to at 69 overall, but just kind of looking around and seeing what I have available in terms of positions. And right now this looks like our quarterback situation with Jesse Wallen graduating. We did bring in John Wilson and Jason Jackson. Jason Jackson's probably going to be redshirted if he does make the team, and then John Wilson, barring Desi Lindsay making a significant jump, John Wilson will probably be our starting quarterback, but we'll probably put Desi Lindsay in some packages, definitely. Halfback, We did add Mike Haynes, but it looks like he'll be our third string back. And then that means Denny Dilkins will be our starting tailback once again. So nice to see you back once again. He's a solid running back for us. Fullback, we did add Ryan Sanders. Ryan Sanders will probably start for us right away. Let's see, who do we have here? Wide receiver, we did add Matt Williams and Drew Jackson. You know, Matt Williams will probably be wide receiver number 2. He'll probably play right away. And then Drew Jackson, he might be passed up by like Andrew Green and Patrick Miller. Drew Jackson might get redshirted, so that's our wide receivers. Don't want to do anything there. We still have Freddie Gibson and Aaron Matthews. So might as well need tight ends next season. Ooh, left our offensive line does not look too great. Might have to shift some guys around. I might go ahead first move Tommy Davis to left tackle. That's more natural. I think that's his natural position. I think it was a tackle, or I think it was a center. He was like a 66 overall, and then I think we moved him. But yeah, I think we're gonna move Tommy Davis there. We'll keep Dave Bass at left guard. He'll start us there. Ooh, center does not look great either. And what is? Ooh, right guard does not look good either. Right tackle. Okay, might have to shift some guys around. Definitely. Does not look good. So, because Keith DeLuca and Gerald Bullock could definitely be starters right away. They're better linemen. Man, this is tough. You know, because we don't have like a lot of like depth. So I think we'll move Tim Williams. Yeah, we'll start moving him to left guard because I think that's where we have like a lot of Okay. And then Keith DeLuca. Yeah, so Keith DeLuca, I'm gonna definitely move over to right guard. Okay, that looks better. Tackle, left guard. And then I guess we're gonna hope that Pierre Jones develops. And then we can have like depth over at the like left guard position, because my theory is, you know, Gerald Bullock, yeah, he's a 60 overall right now, but Pierre Jones might, you know, get to 60 overall or at least close to it. So we're gonna basically put the same player, and that means it'll be less likely that Bullock uses his red shirt right away. There's a slightly better chance. We're not going to redshirt him just for depth purposes. We might need him. But, you know, definitely want to have Keith DeLuca there. So let's see. We'll have Tommy Davis. He'll be a sophomore. Dave Bass, he's going to be a junior. Pierre Jones is a sophomore. DeLuca is a junior. And then Josh Sanders, he's also a junior. So, I mean, there's not going to be any seniors on the like offensive line. Dilkins is actually a junior too. So a lot younger offensive team. You know, I think we're only going to have like 2 or 3 seniors that are going to be starting on offense. As for left end, you know, we're still going to have Josh Parker here, whereas Marshall Hawkins might be backing him up. So that'll be improvement from there. William Swan still is going to be starting. Mike Turner's coming in. Let's see, defensive tackle. We actually have a good number of defensive tackles. Let's see, 4, 5, 6. So what I might do, because You know, defensive tackle, we only have Corey Ford, we have Aaron Moore, like, currently starting for us. But, you know, Marshall Hawkins, he's going to be listed as a backup, and I think he's just too good to not get a more run on the field. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move Eddie Williams. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and move. No. I'm going to move David Brown to left end. That's what I'm going to do. And he'll fill in as a third string, where we're going to move Hawkins to defensive tackle. And then now we'll have, you know, we'll have Hawkins coming in as a D tackle. He's a little undersized for a DT, but you know, he's definitely be able to get on the field more, and I'll shore up our defensive line even more. Corey Ford will probably also be around 60 overall, so that'll be nice. Let's see, outside linebacker, Adam Wright actually is, you know, he transferred last season, so he's going to be, you know, he'll be on the field for us this season. Let's see, middle linebacker. You know, we got two little linebackers, Raymond Penny and Brendan Kep. And then we have Malachi Jackson. He was definitely a big help for us this season, but you know, we have so much. I'm gonna go ahead and put Joel White. Yeah, Joel White. I'm gonna put over right outside linebacker. That'll beef us up over there. And then I still have like one more outside linebacker that I could move. But Zach Bryan, he's decent. So I think that's all I'm gonna want to do with the linebacker core. Corners, man, we know we definitely have several corners actually. Let's see, Corey Fitzpatrick, he's going to be starting for us. Aaron Rodgers, he'll probably start for us again. Bradshaw might be he'll be a notable contributor, definitely. Although, what I want to do is with safeties, you know, because Michael Edwards is going to be starting for us once again. He has 86 speed, so, you know, that's at least be helpful for us. But we're going to go move Brad Pittman over to free safety. That way we don't have to worry about like signing a lock on. And then he might be our third stringer, because Mark Corbett might should get a higher overall than BJ Pittman. Then we'll still have 5 strong safeties over here. At least that's what I'm hoping for. At least 4. And then we got 2 punters. Justin Little is a far better punter, so I'm going to put him over to kicker. So Justin Little will be our kicker, and then Robert Williams is going to be our punter. So we're going to have to look for a kicker again, but at least kicks the can down the road for another season. And I think that's what I'm going to do with the position changes. Alright, so moving on to the training results for our Tommies here, going into season 4, and we'll have 4 guys over 70 overall, and Kevin Stone, Josh Sanders, Justin Little, and Josh Parker. 2 of them are juniors, so that's definitely a positive sign. We'll go take a look at each individual position. We had 2 quarterbacks returning, and Desi Lindsay and Bo Hall. Both didn't make too terribly great jumps, so it looks like Desi Lindsay is going to be the backup, and then Bo Hall once again be the third string quarterback. Halfback, you know, we had Denny Dilkins. He actually was +6, so it's one of our higher improvements of the season. He's going to be up to a 64 overall, so that'll help us out as a starter. And then Brett Jones as his backup, he's up to a 57. Trent Newton's up to a 54, but he's going to be backing up true freshman at fullback. Wide receiver, behind Kevin Stone, you know, we had Chad McKenzie and Mark McDaniel almost get to 60 overall, but not quite. Andrew Green and Patrick Miller are at 58, and then Ken Cruz, he's over 50 overall. Chad McKenzie's got definitely have some speed though. He has 96 speed. That man has speed to burn, but it's that 70 acceleration though. So it takes him forever to get up to speed. Tight end, we have Freddie Gibson and Aaron Matthews at 55 and 51 overall. Both of them are seniors, so we're going to be looking for some tight ends for season 4. Left tackle, Tommy Davis is up to a 69 overall, and then Gillett and Alex Edwards. Gillett was the original left tackle starter. He only gets up to a 59, so good call that we moved Tommy Davis over. Thomas Crown, another custom recruit from season 1. He's up to a 62. He'll be a solid backup. Center Pierre Jones actually does make it to 60 overall, so that works out well for us. Right guard Keith DeLuca, he shifts over to right guard. He gets up to a 66 overall with that offseason plan. And then had Matt Williams and Noah Cock backing him up. Then Josh Sanders, I talked about him, 74. At a left end, we have Josh Parker. He gets up to a 72 overall. And then William Swan, he's nearly a 70 overall. He gets to 69. Nice. Blake Perry is also pretty solid too. He's a 63 overall. And then defensive tackle, we now have 4 guys actually above 60 overall in Aaron Moore, Corey Ford, Glenn Robinson, and Roger Bryant. Atkins and Jim Reed are not too far behind them. Left outside linebacker, we welcome Adam Wright to our squad. He's a sophomore redshirt. He's a 68 overall. He'll definitely be a nice building block for us going forward. Derek Jackson, he gets up to a 67, and he's our returning All-American. He made the second team All-American team. Forgot to mention that, so congratulations to him. Right outside linebacker, we have Joel White. He gets up to a 66 overall. Malachi Jackson, he moves up to a 58. We're gonna put him behind Joel White, just to shore up our linebacker core a little bit. Corners, we got several corners coming back. Fitzpatrick, Rogers, Cook, and Odom are all above 60 overall. Fitzpatrick and Aaron Rodgers are juniors. Brian Cook is a senior, and then Jared Odom is a freshman redshirt. So that's really cool to see. Got other decent corners for the fact that they're 1-stars, of course. Free safety, Michael Edwards is going to be the new starter over at free safety, taking over for, I believe, Matt Gent, if I'm not mistaken. And then Mark Colbert's backing him up. He moves up to a 57. And then strong safety, we have Jeff Arnold, who was redshirted last year, was an All-American 2 seasons ago. He's a 65 overall, and we'll have 2 seasons to work with him since we redshirted him during Marv Santana's senior season. Wood, Leach, and Billy Mitchell also decent improvements. Kicker, I talked about him earlier, but he's one of the 70 overall guys. He's up to a 73. I don't know if he has 79 kick power, 79 and 70 kick accuracy, so he won't quite get the touchbacks that we had this past season with Julian McAfee, but he'll at least be a decent kicker for us. Punter is brand new, so no training results for him. But now we get to the second most difficult part, I should say, of the off season, because it's hard to say goodbye to graduating seniors. Gotta make cuts. So first we're going to cut these 40 overalls and Cole Mueller and Evan Keplin. He's gonna get the boot too. A lot of these 40 overall guys, gonna definitely go. At least we're getting to a point where everyone on our squad is gonna be at least a 50 overall. So at least the roster looks significantly better. Matt Haynes can stay. He'll be a 50 overall. He's a 51 overall. Aaron Matthews, we can't cut him either because we only have 2 tight ends. Ooh, this is where things start to get really tough. I'm gonna cut. Well, nope. Bo Hall gets to stay too. Ken Cruz. We're gonna cut Ken Cruz. He didn't play much of a role for us, anyways. And then we'll cut Tim Williams, and that still leaves us with 3 people that we need to cut. Can I cut Trent Newton? Okay, I can cut Trent Newton. I can't cut a corner. Raymond Williams, Warren, probably I'm gonna cut him. Kind of a no-show on the field anyways. Lindsay's gotta stay. Alex Edwards. We moved Pittman over to free safety for a reason. Yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and cut Alex Edwards. So yeah, this is looks like it's gonna be our squad going into season 4. You know, at least we have one, you know, it's a solid squad. I think we'll definitely, I don't think we're not gonna be quite as good as we were last season, at least on the offensive end. But our defense is going to be significantly better. We have 2 guys almost 70, and then I don't think we have any starters on the defensive end that is under 60 overall. So that's going to be a really good sign for us. And this is going to be our squad going into season 4. Alright, so now that we finally made it to the preseason, it is time to check out the guys that we're going to initially go after, the guys will redshirt, and our schedule, and then finally see what our overall is going into season 4. So we're still only allowed, at least initially, to go after guys in the state of Minnesota and, you know, places surrounding Minnesota. So we're going after 12 guys right now. A lot of them are in Minnesota and Iowa. Got a couple guys in Wisconsin, North Dakota, and one from Canada, actually in Winnipeg, which is very close to the Minnesota border, now that I mention it. And, you know, these are 12 guys that we're going after. Not too terribly much talent initially. We'd like to see a little better, but, you know, let's see what the scouting says. Daryl Thomas is okay. Joey Clark's actually up to a 50. Jamie Smith, he's actually up to a 64. He'll be a solid fullback for us. John Harris stays at 45. Madsen actually is a 68 overall. And he has good speed, great speed actually, 94 speed, 83 acceleration. That could be something that could help us out right away. Not a good catcher, but I mean, we just have it run the ball. Sean Richardson, he moves up to a 61 overall. Gonna move him probably either to kicker or punter, depending on how things go. Jesse Ross, 42 overall, backup if he makes the team. Brian Anderson, 54. Fields is a 40. Bryce is a 42. Chris Jackson actually moves up to a 51 overall, so that's cool. And then Gerald McFarland, he stays at a 50 overall himself. So, I mean, there's a decent number of guys, you know, that move up to, you know, 60s and low 40s, you know, some low-key gems. But, you know, so can't complain. You know, we just got to move up to 2-star. To do that, you know, we got to make it to a bowl game. Or at least something like that, you know. Speaking of bowl games, this is a schedule that we're going to rock with for Season 4. And, you know, we're going to start with an FCS game that we should win. Then it'll get tough with Miami and Auburn. Then we'll play UNLV at home and Cal at home, who we nearly upset last season. And then we'll play San Diego State and Oklahoma State on the road. Host Hawaii. Go on the road to play against TCU. Play Fresno State at home. Utah on the road, and then finish with a home game at Louisville. And looking at the schedule, I think we can win 5 games right off the bat. I think FCS is a game we can win. UNLV, San Diego State, Hawaii, and Fresno State are winnable games, I think, for us. I mean, we just got to find a way to squeeze out maybe like an upset win somewhere. So I think it's very possible that we go to a bowl game at 6-6. And even if we don't go to a bowl game, if we go to 6-6, I think that would be good enough for us to move up to a 2-star school. And then finally, looking at red shirts, just kind of looking around and see who's going to get red shirted this season. First person going to red shirt is Drew Jackson. Drew Jackson is going to get red shirt. There's 6 wide receivers ahead of him, and you know, we'll get some work. And then as a freshman red shirt, he'll be probably 60 overall for season 5. So we'll still have 6 receivers to work with. Tight ends, we can't redshirt anybody. We can't afford it. None of the linemen, I don't think, are going to get redshirted either. No defensive linemen, but we are going to, except Corey Ford. Corey Ford will get redshirted, and we'll still have like 6 defensive tackles. so we'll have enough for a full first, second, and third string. Corey Ford, and then Aaron Moore and Marshall Hawkins will be our starters. I wanted to redshirt Corey Ford. He's faster, and I just wanted to have an extra year with him, to develop his speed and have faster defensive linemen in general. At left outside linebacker, we're going to redshirt Brett Smart and Dale Garrison. They're younger players that aren't going to start because Adam Wright's there, but they definitely got potential. Nobody in the middle linebacker, and then Justin Hill. We're gonna redshirt Justin Hill. He's one of the younger players on the team that was eligible for redshirt, and 56 overall. He'd be like a third string outside linebacker, so we're not gonna miss him for this season. Corner, we have quite a few guys that could definitely get redshirt, and so we decided for now I'm gonna do Jeff Outlaw and Jonathan Marks. 5, 6, 10. And we'll probably do a few more. Well, actually, now that I think about it, we'll do Jeff Jones too. So that still leaves us with 6 guys. Actually, now that I think about it, we still can redshirt one more person. And I think I'm going to do Eric Bradshaw. Eric Bradshaw, he has 89 speed. So I think I want to redshirt him over Brian Cook and just let Brian Cook graduate. So then we'll have a bunch of junior redshirts for next season. That will help us out tremendously on the defensive end moving forward. Free safety, we're not going to redshirt anybody, but BJ Pittman will be our third string free safety guy. So he probably won't play anyways. And then Glenn Leach, we're going to redshirt him. He's the only person we can redshirt. That still leaves us with 3 strong safeties. And that means we'll get all of our safeties back for at least from here next season. Mark Colbert will be the only person graduating. Alright, so this is actually going to be our final season in the independents because we did reach a 60 overall on defense. Offense is a little worse, it's about the same, 55. Defense is significantly better, so we're going to go ahead and join the Mid-American Conference after this season, and then we'll probably have UMass join us as well. They're another relative cupcake. So we'll have UMass join us, and that'll bring the Mid-American Conference up to 14 teams. St. Thomas, of course, we're going to join the West, and then UMass is going to join the East. So that'll be exciting. It'll be the last time that we'll have an independent schedule. So that'll be really cool to see. Alright, so now we simulate to week 2 of this thing, and our first game is on the docket for the next episode. Starting off season 4 with FCS Southeast. Should be a game that we can take care of and win. But thank you guys so much for watching this. If you made it this far, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're new. Appreciate you guys so much for tuning into this video. I hope you all take care. Peace.